What's up, guys, and welcome back to Gabe Miller Music. Today we're taking a look at the making of my latest song. This is the title track of my new EP, Distance, and I'll have a link to that in the description so you can hear the original song if you have not already. And let's just jump right in. I'm going to play a section of the song all the way through, build it up piece by piece, and then go into some of the individual elements. So, here we go. So that is the entire track, and this is the biggest section of the song, that kind of the climax, if you will. So I'm going to hop into the drums first of all. So we've got a kick. And this is two different layers, a very, very punchy kick. And then a more boomy element. It's got some highs rolled off, a bit of reverb. So you layer them together. You get one kick. And also on the punchy kick, I moved the pitch around a little bit so that I could get both these kicks to work well together, and then also so the kick was kind of somewhat within the key of the song, and it made it fit much better for this particular track. So that's the kick. Got a click. Don't really have much processing on that, and then layered with that is this little clap reverb thing, as I called it. And I've got the attack taken off quite a bit so it doesn't fight with the click, and it's got a nice bit of reverb on that as well. So we get into the hi-hats. And as you can hear, both the kick and the hi-hats have a lot of swing on them. That's one of the things that really creates the feel of the track. And got three different hi-hats layered here. And as you can hear, I have these hi-hats panned out to the sides, so it creates a bit of width and separation, so you have them both doing different things. Here's the one out to the left. And then the two out to the right. And as you can hear, they're alternating. And so that's all the drums so far. It's actually decently simple. And then finally the cymbals. And that cymbal element is with the built-in drum kit designer, built into Logic. And also I have, one of the big things is a crap ton of compression. And I have the mix knob set, so it's basically acting as parallel compression. So I have it compressed really heavily, and then also preserve the transient by mixing that compressed signal with the uncompressed signal. So you get this kind of aggressive pumping effect, but it's not over the top, and it doesn't completely destroy the tone of the cymbal. So then you build all of that up, and you have, and then you add the bass. As you can hear, that's like the foundation of the track. So let's go into the bass a little more fully. Got a decent amount of processing. Let me take it all off, and then I'll add it back on. So here's what it sounded like at first. It's just a fake sounding sampled bass built into Logic, once again, a Logic virtual instrument. So first of all, you run it through a bass amp, and that gets it a lot of the way there already. A compressor, chorus effect, get a bit of width, some EQ, bringing out both the high and low end, and then finally a compressor, which is sidechained to the kick. So what I did here in Logic, it's very easy to set up a sidechain. I have, I rendered down the kick to audio, so that's this right here, and then muted that, and then just went into the compressor and selected the source of my sidechain. That's it. And it automatically pumps it, and so wherever I have this audio playing, it automatically, you know, kicks it in whenever the kick hits. So normally, if you watch some of my other tutorials, you've seen this. I typically use X for Records LFO tool just to pump the elements, and this is usually if I have a 4 on the floor kick. In this case, I didn't, and it was a lot quicker and easier just to set up a sidechain and do it this way. And then I have these 2 basses layered. Once again, sidechain, and as a mixing tip, this is functioning as a bass, but since this bass already has so much low end, that's the purpose that's serving. This one, I dialed back the low end a fair bit, so when you layer them, you don't miss that low end, but you don't get this weird buildup either. By itself, it sounds really thin, but then next to the real bass, it works quite well. And in terms of an arrangement thing, I have this bass, the growl bass, coming in and out. It starts off for a long time during the song, it's nowhere to be heard, and then throughout the song it kind of starts coming in until it's full blast in the climax. So that's the drums and bass. Then we've got 2 elements as a lead, so let me start off with the piano. And these are both Nexus presets. And the piano starts off earlier in the song as the main lead, and then over time I used high cut automation to bring in the other lead until it kind of overtakes the piano and becomes the primary lead. But they're still layered because the piano provides a nice attack, which I like. So together. And then in terms of mixing, I have some reverb and a fair amount of low end rolled off. So that is the leads, and let's get into the pads. Got a couple layered here. I'll play them all at once, and then... And all of these have sidechain compression on them to varying degrees. So start off with this one. Some reverb, and also I have a fair amount of high-cut automation on there to add movement throughout the track. And one of the big things that I did was I used EQ less as a mixing tool and more as a sound design tool. In this case, here's what the pad sounded like originally. And that's much more extreme than I want it to be, so I tamed it by doing some pretty extreme EQ, and so in this case it's really acting like a sound design tool to kind of carve out the sound that I wanted. And then same with this one. It's a very simple kind of saw square-based element, and once again that's much too in-your-face, so you dial it back with the same kind of EQ done on it, so you lay them together. And then after that, I have these 2 elements. I actually switched the panning, so the titling is incorrect at this point, but that's okay. And these are 2 very different elements. I'll play each one by themselves, and they're panned pretty far out, so you get width and separation once again. And these elements are providing a lot of the high end to the chords. Whereas these 2 elements are very muted and laid back. These are the ones providing a lot of energy, and so that's why, once again, I have high-cut automation on this bus, and it just brings them in slowly and brings up the energy of the track as it progresses. And as you can hear, they're very different elements, but they're also complementary. They sound good together, and that was one thing that just took some time of just sound selection and playing around with EQ to get them in a similar frequency range. And then finally we've got the electric pianos. And I've got 2 of them layered here. And this one. So you layer all that stuff. real quick, I want to go into a couple things I did arrangement-wise to kind of sweeten the mix a bit. So first of all, I want to go into this section where right before the lead comes in the climax. It's a subtle little element, but this note reverse. What I did was I took the last note over here, that one right there, soaked it in reverb, and then rendered it out so you get this nice long reverb tail, and then reversed it, and then soaked it in reverb again, so as you can hear it doesn't just abruptly stop, it goes on. Basically what the purpose this serves is to lead into the lead, so it's not, you're not abruptly dropping it in, you're kind of subtly bringing it in, so when it comes in it's not this huge change. It felt natural and brings it in nicely, and it just sounds cool, adds a cool feel to the song. And then finally, all over the arrangement, and I've talked about this before, but for those of you a little newer to my channel and maybe newer to this technique, I used high cut filter automation all over the place. So in the pads you can hear this, they start off very, very subdued, and then over time build up an energy as the high cut filter lifts, and then same with this. And I also have that on the piano. And as time goes on, it lifts, and then same on the lead. And so I have these high cut filters all over the place. If you go back and listen for high cut filter automation, you'll be able to hear how they bring stuff in and out. And so the purpose of that is twofold. They bring the energy level up and down as you want, because the more kind of muffled something is, it pushes it to the back of the mix and feels much more subdued, and then if it has more high end, it feels much more energetic, and so you can use that to control the dynamic of the song. And then the other use is to bring in elements more naturally, and so a good example is the lead. We start off with just the piano mostly doing the work in the melody. And then as time goes on, as the high cut filter lifts on the actual lead, it becomes more and more obvious that it's there. So it brings it in slowly, and it slowly overtakes the piano. Like that. And so that's two places that high cut automation are really handy and an indispensable tool to producers. Alrighty, that is it for today. Don't forget to subscribe for more electronic music. I have the second song of the EP coming to my channel next week, and then the weeks after I've got some song challenges and some collaborations lined up, so be sure to subscribe for that, and if you have any questions, don't hesitate to leave them in the comments. I'm Gabe, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace out.